Last page, we are matching story problems, questions, to equations that represent the same thing. So we're looking for key terms like a number that we don't know, representing the variable, that type of stuff. All right, so a whale was diving at a rate of 2 meters per second. How long will it take the whale to get from the surface of the ocean to an elevation of negative 12 meters at that rate? Okay, as soon as you see rate, that phrase, you know that this is probably going to involve multiplication and division. All right, so that automatically eliminates number 1 and number 2, right? And we want to get to a elevation of negative 12, so it makes sense that both of these equal negative 12, right? The key here is that the whale is diving. And since it's diving at 2 meters per second, that means that it's losing elevation, which means that its constant, or its coefficient, is negative. So I'm going to match this one right here with A, just based solely on those two things. Rate means multiply. Diving means it's going downward, so a negative 2 times however long it takes to get to negative 12. That's how I'm matching those up. All right. A swimmer dove below the surface of the ocean. After 2 minutes, she was 12 meters below the surface. At what rate was she diving? All right, so we kind of have another rate situation going on here, which leads me to think this one right here. So to find the rate at which they're diving, when they're going to 12 meters below, which would be here, and 2 minutes, which would be a positive time, if we divided these two numbers, we would get a negative answer, which would be a negative rate, which makes sense because they're diving. So this one right here would match up with story B. Rate kind of gives away that it's multiplication. All right, let's look at another one. The temperature was negative 12 degrees Celsius, and it rose to 2 degrees Celsius. It rose up to 2. So it started at negative 12, there was a change, and we ended at 2. So which one tells the story of the change in temperature? So the one that I feel like matches that the best is number 1, because this is kind of like where you started, right? And then you went up a certain amount that we don't know right now, and you ended up at 2 degrees above. So I feel like that one matches C. Some of you might think it's this one because it's using the same numbers, but you didn't start there and then go up an amount and then end up back at the ending. Plus the answer would be different there, right? So I feel like that story matches C, which means that number 2 must match D. So the match there is D for that one. And let's read it. 2 degrees fell to negative 12. Boom, it fell down to negative 12. So this would represent the fall, which would be, adding a negative, which is a fall. Let's move on to the next question. Starting at noon, the temperature dropped steadily at a rate of 0.8 degrees Celsius every hour. For each of these situations, write and solve an equation and describe what your variable represents. All right. How many hours did it take for the temperature to decrease by 4.4 degrees? All right. If it's dropping at negative 0.8, so we got a negative 0.8. It's going to get multiplied by some time that we don't know. And we know that it's going to end up being a decrease that's equal to negative 4.4. That's the ending increase. So that's the equation that I would write. And then to find the answer, I would just have to divide for negative 4.4 by negative 0.8. And it would tell me how many hours that it was dropping by. How many hours. So we just got to do 4.4 divided by 0.8, negative divided by negative, so this is going to be positive. Think of this as 8 into 44, so you get 5 and 4/8, 5.5, so 5.5 hours. And we're going to have to cut it short there, and we'll finish up part B on the next video.